Welcome to Unsanctioned.
I came here to talk about traffic, but realistically it comes down to first response. There's one ambulance and one fire truck at the corner of Deer Run Road, and as she said, it's special ops. So us down at the backside of the manor, we now rely on what? Friars Cove, St. Cloud, or Harmony to come to us. You have Buena Lago that was just built, the large division that's going in east of the canal on Hickory Tree. What happens when the roads go under construction? Canoe Creek starts sometime next year. Hickory, the Discovery ends next year. Both main roads are going to be under construction at the same time. That doesn't make sense. So for us, on the backside of the manor, or even anybody else that's spoken about it, Scott and Alexia, who comes to them? What happens if there's a traffic jam? What happens when the construction's going on? Our house is completely burnt down. I hate to go down the rabbit hole, but it's a valid statement. What happens? So for me, I would like to urge you 1 to 2 homes per acre. I still personally think 3 homes is too much. We live in the manor for the rural aspect that is the manor. 346 homes with townhomes with roadside parking on Story Road. What's crazy is that I was just telling one of the neighbors at the corner of what will now be the new Story Road. I said, they're going to come right through your property. And we looked right at it, and there it was on the screen. Are we ready for this? Is the manor really ready for this? Is outside Osceola County ready for this? Is the infrastructure ready for this? Really, I have to ask that question. Where is the first response? We've already spoken about the sheriff. Where does the next fire department go in? What happens if all the first responders are busy? Are we out of luck? There's 346 more homes going in. I urge you, 1 to 2 homes per acre. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
They won't answer him. They won't tell him where the answer is for that. But I'll answer for him that the manor is not ready for this. John, Ricky Booth had motioned to deny this after many residents came out to speak against this. It's called Story Estates. It's going out in the St. Cloud Manor, which is just outside the city limits of St. Cloud, very rural area. So Ricky Booth went and he motioned to deny it, and it was seconded by Peggy Chowdhury. No coincidence that both of them are up for re-election this year.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Yeah,
it's a joke. Listen, they're all in this together, and the guy who was a proponent of this project at that meeting was Sean Hindle. Yeah. Sean Hindle's the president of one of the engineering companies here in town, which is they get the financial benefit of all these projects. And you might think there's nothing wrong with that, but when the company that gains the benefit, the financial benefit, is the one proposing constantly, and then you go to the politicians' campaign reports, and what do you see? you see those same companies that are making all this money on these developments. Do they care about the community? No, because they don't even live, right? They can buy them, so they can afford, because of all the money that they've made in these developments, they can buy themselves a 10-acre compound and wall it off, and in the perfect spot. And what happens? They also get to decide and influence where the infrastructure happens. So they get to carve out a perfect scenario for themselves, like all these landowners have, right? Like Ricky Booth, all these politician landowners, they've carved out how the county's going to happen around their own land so that they get all the benefit. The companies are in the basket with them. All of this stuff is happening behind the citizens' back. And then you have gentlemen like this who come totally respectful, right?
Yeah.
They're not like irreverent like you and I have been on this show. They come totally respectful, and they're like, please, two homes per acre, something reasonable. But no, what you don't understand is they couldn't care less about you, because that land is worth millions and millions and millions of dollars to them, right? And they're not going to sacrifice those millions of dollars for you. No. So it's a sham. It's a total sham. These county meetings are shams, because the outcome is already decided. The whole thing about what you mentioned, where Ricky Booth is running for re-election and so is Peggy Choudhury. So this is what happens. They have each other's back. They know that the vote result, what it's going to be. And so I'm Brandon Arrington. I'm going to vote yes. And then you're going to vote no so that you can look good to your community. And then when it's my turn, I'm going to vote no and you guys vote yes. But in the end, everybody knows what's happening.
Well, you know what's funny, John, is that Brandon Arrington spoke up after this motion to deny was proposed by Ricky Booth. And he said, that these residents deserve to be heard. They deserve to have a community meeting before we take a formal vote on this. So I motion that we have this community meeting. We hold off this vote to the next meeting if you rescind your motion to deny. And sure enough, Ricky Booth did rescind his motion to deny. So what they did was they're basically going to give these residents a community meeting. Sean Hindle did ask for this to be very quick,
So
because the contracts were on the line. So they're going to give them this community meeting. They're going to come back in July and they're going to vote it through. So it's going to happen. You can be as nice to these commissioners as you want. They used to, I don't know if you remember this, John, they used to take the camera off the speaker and put it on their backs, because people were going up there and they felt like people were showboating when they were speaking to the county commissioner. So they said, okay, we're not going to put the camera on their face. We're going to put it on their back. But when they did that, you got to see what the county commissioners were doing when the residents were speaking. And you could see that they were doing anything but paying attention to the residents.
They were sleeping. They were playing games on their phones.
Absolutely.
They're checking their fingernails. It just shows how disrespectful they are.
Yeah, and we caught them a couple of times, and then they decided, we can't show that anymore.
Yeah, don't put that angle. Yeah.
Now they put the faces back up there, and that's when they got rid of the public comment.
Yeah.
And now they have that special meeting once a month where you can go there and air your grievances before the county commission. You don't have to, you have to fill out a form. You have to do it the Sunday before.
So that they know who's coming.
They make it very restrictive and very hard for you to address them. So, that's our
and that's why that's one of the reasons that they deserve to be thrown out, because they don't want the public to speak. They try to discourage you from speaking, and they try to have control over the entire process. So, okay, if John Arguello is coming to speak, then I'm not going to show up. I'm not. We're only going to send one county commissioner out there, and that's it. And then whatever they try to control and plan around it. So instead of having to deal with the citizens, they just kind of. They just space out a little bit of time. That's it. And these guys, instead of just, it's mind-boggling that they don't listen to anybody. No. But there's a whole bunch of people running for office.
They listen to the developers.
They listen to the developers, yeah. And that video that we saw, man. At what point are we going to see Fauci dragged out of his home, tarred and feathered, and thrown in prison? Yep. That's what I'm waiting to see.
That was you, Osceola County, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Don't ever forget what they did.
Don't ever forget what they did. Don't
forget
incredible.
how the majority of the school board, besides this man right here, were trying to mask your kids while they were in school.
Yep.
And now we know, and I hope you know, I hope you truly do know that those masks don't protect you from a damn thing. They don't protect you from a fart.
But they prevented
Come on.
They prevented you from visiting your loved ones when they were on their deathbeds, or they're alone and they're in a center. All of our grandparents and stuff like that who were in homes. We didn't have access to any of our loved ones. People went to the hospital and died alone because of Fauci. And I mean, this is just absolutely nuts.
Yeah, don't fall for it again.
Don't ever fall for it again.
Don't fall for it again, because there's already talk of another virus.
Yeah, but that's not even enough. That's not even enough. They have to pay for what the crimes that they did it performed against Americans.
Yeah.
That's what I'm waiting for. These people need to be held to account for what they did to the American people. 100%.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to another on that note. Welcome to another episode of Unsanctioned Florida. This is, let me pull it up here. We're going to go through the headlines here, but this is episode 13.
Yeah.
Is it episode 13? Episode 18.
18.
Episode 18, June 15, 2024. This week, Dems compete in every race. We're going to talk about that. It's pretty a big deal. First time since the 90s. Sabatini switches races. The sheriff's under investigation. FRA, a chapter of the FRA, calls out a new terrorist group. Matt Gaetz points out the DEI competitor he's against in his race. BLM teacher can reapply for her license. Osceola leads nation in one thing. We're going to talk about the one thing that they lead the nation in. Empty hotels. We're going to talk about that. No more sports. Construction fees go up in St. Cloud. Osceola mocks God with pride. Qualify or no qualify. We're going to talk about the election issue. That's what this is. This show is, a lot of it is going to be devoted to the elections. And he's back. A surprise guy gets into one of the races, and more on this episode of Unsanctioned Florida. So we're going to say a quick prayer, and then we're going to get right to the show. Lord, we are so appreciative that we live in the free state of Florida. We know that the free state of Florida is different from other states. Thank you for this wonderful country, which we know is this country is a very special place, very different from all the other countries in the world. We are truly grateful to be here and have the opportunity to do this show. We do this show for one reason, and that's to spread awareness and spread truth. And we know that truth is good. It doesn't matter that people don't like it or do like it. The fact is, the truth is a weapon for the people to be able to receive the leadership and representation that they deserve. And we pray, God, that you continue to inspire people to stand up, tell the truth, do the right thing, and fight for the American people. In your son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All right, let's get to it.
Let's get to it. So, state of Florida, John. Let's talk about state of Florida. First up, we talked about it. Actually, you just mentioned it right now. The Democrats have fielded a candidate in every legislative race this time around. It's just
what a
unbelievable.
disaster
Does it matter?
this is to me.
I think it does matter. It absolutely matters, right?
Yeah, it matters because this is not a hard thing to do, right? It's not a hard thing to throw people in races. The difference is, why are they so good at it? And why are we so bad at it? Why are Republicans bad at fielding candidates for races? And the only races that they want to compete in, they throw in 5 or 6 Republicans. And it doesn't make any sense that we're doing that to one another. District 25 is a great example. CD9, CD10, all of these races are potentially winnable races in a flippable area of Central Florida that is blue right now.
Yeah.
And it's only blue in terms of local seats, right? Because the governor went red, the state attorney, the state attorney or the attorney general went red, right? Ashley Moody had the largest bump up. I think she won by like 27 points or something like that.
Yeah.
So these seats can be won. But Democrats just are stepping all on each other's feet and making it very difficult. While the Democrats are putting in people, you're a pedophile, drug user. You're gonna be found naked, toes down in the hotel room with crack spread all over the room. No problem. We're gonna put you in this race. I mean, come on. It's crazy. There's 120 House seats in Florida, and there's 40 state Senate seats. There's 2 contentious state Senate seats that are worthy of discussion. One is Corey Simon's seat in North Florida. Wow. Corey Simon's a good senator. He's got to fight now. And then we have 25, which is this one right here, and is a flippable seat. And what are we doing? I mean, I don't know what they're wasting the opportunity. Governor DeSantis even said during the last elections, "Why did we leave this seat on the table? Why did we leave it here on the table?" And I mean, they're not. The GOP.
It looks
is not
like we're leaving
deciding.
it on the table again, John.
It could be, right? It could
know.
be. It could be. It's a possibility. So I'm gonna fight like hell in that seat, but nonetheless, it's not because of the GOP, right? If it had been up to the GOP, it would have been left for Arrington to take.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, I think it is a big deal. And 120 seats. They field 120 House seats. You know, they even put somebody against Carolina Amnesty. You know, she's going to win that seat, but nonetheless, they put somebody against her. They have very low quality people in that District 46 against Paula Stark. None of those candidates are people that are worthy of being elected. One of them is a sworn communist. He's like a card-carrying communist candidate. These are the people that the Democrat Party are fielding.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like these are high-quality people. But, I mean, there's a lot more high-quality Republicans that could have been fielded and made sure that we forced them. And here's the worst example, Carlos Guillermo Smith. We allowed Carlos Guillermo Smith, a guy whose his favorite thing in the world is to learn that a child is being chemically castrated, right? That's his big thing. The guy, like literally, I think there's every article that's out there is talking about how the only thing that he cares about is LGBTQ plus whatever, alpha omega whatever, and this guy is just like. He wants to brutalize children, and we didn't field a candidate in that Senate seat.
Yeah.
Oh, what a failure! That's a failure. He
It
should
is.
have had to have run for a run in that race, and they just let him have it. Someone called. So listen to this. I got some insider information on this. Someone called the GOP, the Senate GOP, and the Senate GOP said, "We have it under control." That's what they said.
What?
That's what they said.
What?
That's what they said. I'm not going to reveal who my source is, but my source told me that the Senate GOP said we have this under control.
How do you have it under control? You know, Nikki Fried has something to prove right now.
Yeah,
If she wants to hold
and
on
she's
to her
ridiculous.
job.
Yeah, she wants to hold on to her job. Yep.
And they've, this was part of her plan, right? She enacted it. She's all proud about it. She's out everywhere in the media right now talking about how this was a big success for them, that they fielded a candidate in every single race. It absolutely matters. It absolutely matters, John. And to say that we have it under control, yes. You know, this is how you lose things, is when you feel totally comfortable. And I think that our state GOP feels very comfortable with the fact that, the state is mostly red.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we can't lose seats, that we can't give up ground. You know what I mean? We have to stay active. We have to stay engaged. And we have to keep fighting. If you stop fighting, you're going to lose. And
You have to put troops in the battlefield.
She has a lot to prove.
She's crazy. She does have a lot to prove, but so does Evan Power.
Yeah,
Right?
no, I agree 100%.
Evan Power's got a lot to
100%.
prove too, because I mean, there's all kinds of the FRA fight that they created. All this unnecessary crap.
It seems they're trying to back down from that now, or at least that's the feel that I'm getting. But who knows?
The point is that why we're like months from an election, and then you pick a fight with one of the larger conservative groups in your own state instead of fighting over these seats, and they let Carlos Guillermo Smith go in and just run right. I mean, there's people, there's Republicans in there. The Republicans, that district, that 17 may have been a difficult seat to win, but this district here is also difficult to win, and they have better statistics there than they do here.
Yeah. You
I mean,
at least got to try.
You got to try. You got to try. I mean, help somebody. Give somebody a couple $100,000. They have tens of millions. They have more than $30 million. The Senate GOP, the GOP Senate majority PAC has more than $30 million. They could have put $200,000 into that Senate seat. I mean, they spent $2 million on Erica Booth in a race that they couldn't get a single Republican to support her.
Yeah, they put that money behind a phony Republican, a bad candidate. It's just unbelievable.
Shame. It's shame.
Unbelievable.
Anyways, enough about her. But anyways, they allowed her to have a victory.
There's going to be more to come with her anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, because she is running again for
Yeah.
the same seat. We do have a great candidate that did file for that seat, Laura McAdams.
Laura McAdams. Yeah, we're going to talk about her. So here's the thing. In the end, they allowed, to end this story and move on to the next, they allowed Nikki Fried to have a victory when it was totally unnecessary to give her that victory.
They were already campaigning on the win against Erica Booth, and now they're campaigning on this. They feel like they have momentum. You cannot give these people an inch. don't give them an inch, Evan Power. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
You already made a few big mistakes. Let's not continue on that trend. Let's continue on to a big win. All right. So, and I'll consider this next story a kind of a mistake, but and we'll talk about the reasons for it. But Anthony Sabatini did drop out of the Republican primary for House District 11 after President Trump endorsed his opponent, who is Daniel Webster. Sabatini put out this tweet. Today, Donald Trump endorsed the incumbent in my race. I don't always agree with Donald Trump's endorsements, but I understand the political reality of what they are. Tonight, I am withdrawing from District 11, and I will be running for Lake County Commission. So he's going to run for Lake County Commission. I understand what he means by the reality of what they are, the political reality. And that is if Donald Trump endorses your opponent's probably going to win, and probably going to win big. And I know we've talked amongst ourselves, John, on why we think Sabatini did this, or why President Trump did this.
I'm not happy with all of President Trump's endorsements. I think that some of them have been kind of loose. I'm not offended by Daniel Webster. I don't think that he's the worst congressman or anything like that. It's not about that. It's just like some of these races, you don't need to. I think that he's trying too hard to make it. I don't know, make everybody happy.
Yeah.
And that's not what got him there, right?
No.
And that's not what got him. People are going to support him regardless. And I know he's trying to mend fences and all that. All that's fine and good.
Yeah.
But Erica Booth did not win her election. Erica Booth is the perfect race for the analysis of let's just do the right thing. Let's field the right candidates. Let's be the right people. If we lose, fine. Because you're going to lose regardless if you put people like Erica Booth in.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to lose regardless because Republicans will not vote. Right? They're not going to vote for somebody that's not a Republican.
Yeah.
And who's lying to them, and it's super obvious. Not that that's the case with Daniel Webster, but the point is, I really we have an opportunity right now, and what are we going to do? What is it going to look like? What is America going to look like in Trump's second term? Is it going to be one where it's really conservative and we're going to make sure that we get all the things done that we need to get done and we're going to put our country back on track? Or is it going to be one of compromise and shame like all these other rhinos that we don't like?
Yeah, I don't know if that's exactly what it's going to be, John.
And I'm not saying that about Webster. I'm saying, but somebody said that Pompeo was in for VP again now. What?
No,
I
don't believe that.
No, that could never. You could never do that. You could nobody wants him. That's not what the American people want.
I'll tell you this, John. I don't agree with this endorsement for Daniel Webster. I mean, Daniel Webster has been in government for a very, very, very long time. He's very old. There's nothing to get excited about there besides the fact that President Trump did endorse him. But I believe that President Trump has given up the state to Governor DeSantis. He's basically, to mend fences with Governor DeSantis, he said, you know what, I'll back your guys, or at least some of your guys.
We'll let you have control of the state.
So that we can come together and get the win in the presidency. So, that's how I feel about it. We'll see how this plays out, but I'm not happy about it whatsoever. So, anyway. Speaking of Governor DeSantis, he issued an executive order to investigate the sheriffs of Alachua and Baker County.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Yeah, there's not much being said about it, but, he did issue 2 executive orders last Tuesday that said the Florida Department of Law Enforcement is investigating Alachua County Sheriff's Office and the Baker County Sheriff's Office. The executive orders did not provide details about that investigation. Brian Kramer, the state attorney in the 8th Judicial Circuit, recommended DeSantis to initiate the investigations according to the executive orders. And big mystery there, John. Don't know what's going on there, but...
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. So over in Lee County, John, the United Nations, the World Health Organization, and the World Economic Forum have been just declared terrorist organizations by the Lee County Republican Assembly. And I agree 100%. I call them enemies of America. The Lee County Republican Assembly, which is a grassroots conservative Republican organization, passed a resolution introduced by Joseph Samson declaring the UN, WHO, and WEF terrorist organizations. The resolution also declares cooperation with these organizations an act of treason against the United States and the state of Florida. Unfortunately, the executive board of the Lee County Republican Party refused to allow the resolution to come up for a vote to the full executive committee, which would have likely passed the resolution as well. Big shame there, John.
Yeah,
Why do you think that their executive committee there in Lee County decided to shoot this down?
I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. I think that these leaders, they don't understand that these movements belong to the people, and you have to obey the will of the people. If they want this to go out, right? Even if you don't agree with it or you're afraid of the repercussions, those people are willing to accept it. They're the ones that fund the party. They're the ones that put in all the money and all the time. And without them, you're nothing.
Yeah.
So, I think that you got to be very careful when you're, they get all excited about something. They want to do something. They want to make a statement. It doesn't matter. Does the UN care what the Lee County FRA says? No.
No, not at all.
So, come on, you got to give the people what they want sometimes, and that's going to be a real difficult thing when you can't tamper everyone's needs and wants right now. People are upset, and that's what I'm afraid with Trump. I hope Trump goes full Trump.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then people are going to be like, they're going to hold back too, and that's not what we want right now. We want everybody moving forward in the best possible way.
Absolutely. All right, so a rhino got in the race against Matt Gaetz, John, and he spoke to a pro-DEI group about key radical concepts, wouldn't you know? So this is his opponent. His name is Aaron Dimmock, and several months back, Matt Gaetz clowned on Aaron DEI Dimmock when he co-opted several websites that the former Navy pilot could have used to promote his candidacy. While Representative Gaetz was busy pulling the campaign website rug from under Dimmock, the popular congressman from Florida's Panhandle also blitzed his opponent over his past support for DEI, or diversity, equity, and inclusivity. Where'd that one go? Oh, there it is. So the Floridian did a recent report on his steadfast support for DEI. This Republican congressional hopeful doubled down on his support for the controversial and woke DEI agenda item when he spoke at a recent Society for Humane Resource Management meeting in St. Louis, Missouri.
Human resource.
Humane, did I say that?
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right. So this is the guy. It's so funny to me that rhinos, and these are rhinos, supposedly Kevin McCarthy rhinos that put this guy in the race against Matt Gaetz. But
what a horrendous candidate to put against Matt Gaetz. I mean, and this is the point. Imagine, this is the problem. This is the war going on right now. There's really two factions, and one of these factions is the people like this, and McCarthy. They would put somebody like this in a race. No, nobody wants that. And I don't know if McCarthy's so dumb that he doesn't realize that the American people don't want somebody like Dimmock. They want Matt Gaetz. All right? So, I mean, you try to force feed these people. This is another... Dimmock is like an Erica Booth.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
She's a North Florida... He's a North Florida Erica Booth. And even if they spent hundreds of millions of dollars and they beat Matt Gaetz, then even if they spent another $100 million, they'd still lose the general election because Republicans won't vote for him.
Right.
So, I mean, at some point, somebody's going to need to come to that conclusion on their own.
Well, the funny thing about that story, John, is that Matt Gaetz went ahead and bought AaronDimmock.com. He bought different variations of the name of those websites. So I think that's hilarious. Cut him off at the pass. So... moving on, John. Florida education panel decided a former teacher who supported Black Lives Matter can reapply for her teaching license. And here's a picture of that teacher, John. And as you can see, she is fully on board.
I'm not a gang member, her math says. No, she should say I am a moron. If it said I am a moron, I would believe it.
Yeah, so this former Jacksonville, Florida teacher who said she was fired for displaying a Black Lives Matter flag outside her high school classroom will be able to reapply for her teaching license. An attorney representing the teacher confirmed to CNN. Attorney Mark Richards said a 5-member panel of Florida's Education Practices Commission agreed with an administrative judge's recommendation that Amy Donofrio receive a written reprimand after state officials accused the teacher. No, it's not an accusation. She actually did it.
Yeah.
She did bring her personal views into the classroom. And, it's a shame, John, that we have to have teachers that are bringing these political ideas into the classroom.
We just don't want. We don't want that. We don't want it anyway. I don't care.
Motivations.
I wouldn't care if you're talking to my kid about how much you like Trump. I don't want you to talk about my kid. Don't waste my kid's school time talking about politics. You spend your time talking to my kid about what you're supposed to be teaching them.
Yeah.
And that's all. I mean, and when we have 50% proficiency rates, then we don't have the time to be putting on in our personal views and trying to indoctrinate the kids. Just don't do it.
No. And we'll see if there's any more to that story. I doubt it. But anyway, that's it for the state of Florida, John. And before we move on to Osceola County, we have this important message from candidate for supervisor of elections, Jim Trotz.
Honor, courage, commitment. These are the set of strong values and principles that has guided Jim Trott's life. It's that sense of dignity and integrity, always striving to do what is right and ethical in any situation, that Jim wants to bring to our elections. The last couple of elections have brought about many questions about integrity, fairness, and honesty. Jim feels you should never have to question the integrity, fairness, or honesty of the election, and you should be confident that your vote has been counted and the results are fair and honest. That's because
we're talking about election integrity. Doesn't matter if you're a Republican or you're Democrat or you're a liberal or you're a conservative. The process needs to be fair for everybody.
This message is paid for and approved by Jim Trotz, candidate for Osceola County Supervisor of Elections.
Come on, guys.
I'll never get over that little dancing guy, and I don't think anybody has ever guessed what little Osceola's real name is or who he is.
Or that voice.
Yeah, with the voice. In my mind, that's who he is. So, anyway, we'll move on to Osceola County, John, and to start this off, we did have one surprise. We had a couple of surprises come. We had an early surprise, and then we had some surprises that came yesterday, which was Friday. But this was a big one, John. Former U.S. Representative Alan Grayson dropped into your Senate. Into your Senate race.
This is a great. Okay, so it's not great for Arrington, right? So there's 5 people in my race. There's me, and there's my primary opponent. Then there's Kristen Arrington. There's Carmen Torres. And now there's Alan Grayson. And basically, Arrington, who was in first place, and everybody thought she was going to run away with that primary, goes to third place. Because now you have Alan Grayson, you have Carmen Torres, you have 2 Anglos, 1 Hispanic, 2 Anglos splitting a vote, and then the Hispanic probably leading in that race. Or you have Alan Grayson, who's of has national name recognition. He was the guy that said that the Republican plan for health care is for you to die. That's this guy, right? He died quickly. He is the Democrat boogeyman. Just so.
Yeah. He was AOC before AOC.
He was AOC before AOC. And he's also got a ton of money. He can put a ton of money in this race. And all of a sudden, it's the race is between Alan Grayson and Carmen Torres.
Yeah.
And so if you have Alan Grayson, my primary opponent will never be able to stand on a stage with Alan Grayson and beat him. That will not happen. There's no way for that to happen, right? It's just it's not there. The potential for him to come out of victorious over Alan Grayson does not exist. Yeah. So, and if it's Carmen Torres, again, it's not going to happen. So now it makes my primary kind of moot. It was a favor to me. I would love to see Arguello Grayson debate.
Absolutely.
Right? I think that would be a lot of fun. He's a fiery guy. I'm a fiery guy. That would be a great debate. Man, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I would look forward to that too, John. We would definitely have to cover that. But yeah, he has a lot. He's a.
Let's get it done. In fact, let's get it done. Let's go, Alan. Let's do. We're gonna have to tag Alan on the thing. Alan, let's go ahead. Let's do a debate. You and I are the likely primary winners. Let's get a debate underway. Let's let the people know what we stand for. I have been challenging now. It's been more than 2 weeks. I've been challenging all the people in District 25 to a debate. Let's debate. The people deserve it. I know you guys are hiding and ducking. You know, you remember that movie, Better Off Dead, with John Cusack, and there's a little kid that wants his $2. Yeah, $2
plus tip.
I feel like that kid just chasing these guys around looking for a debate. Let's let the people know what this race is about.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get on it, guys. And you're never going to get a response, John, I don't think, from any of these guys. I don't think they have any interest in debating you whatsoever.
Nah, I guess not.
All right, so in Osceola County, John, nationally, we lead the nation in adaptive reuse.
What does adaptive reuse mean?
Well,
it means...
there you go. There it is.
You go.
It's the process of reusing existing buildings, often renovating or redeveloping them to be used for something other than they were originally intended for. In this case, commercial spaces are being turned into homes. According to Rent Cafe, Kissimmee and Orlando are key figures in Florida's adaptive reuse landscape, representing 41% of the state's total projected future projects of 6,847 apartments. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
So, Kissimmee city officials and nonprofit leaders said this data includes projects happening in the city, but also in places postally addressed as Kissimmee, but they are actually in unincorporated Osceola County land. Funding is coming mainly from federal dollars, grants, congressional and state appropriations, as well as Osceola County in-kind donations and individual contributions.
Wait a second. This is very interesting. So shouldn't we do a little investigation into where this money is going and who it's going to, right? Who it's benefiting?
Absolutely.
I bet you if we did a little investigation into who's benefiting from this money from the federal government and from the county in-kind donations, we would see a lot of people that are very well connected or very commonly ending up on the contribution list of politicians. We're going to have to look at it. Let's see. We're going to have to look at it on another show.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, John. So I know this was talked about last week, not by us, but by the majority of citizens. The Osceola County School District canceling several sports programs next year. We have a little video. I know. We'll play that.
You're fuming tonight because some sports are actually being cut at middle schools next year.
Yeah, and Channel 9's Daryl Matthews explains which sports are being cut and why.
She actually had self-confidence and stuff to, step up and wrestle, and now she can't because, they're just taking it away from her.
A surprise to many parents in Osceola County to find out some sports programs in the school district will be cut.
I'm extremely surprised. I mean, I don't know about the other sports, like I think golf was one and softball, but wrestling is massive. Like it's packed, like all the way to the top of the rafters.
The district says it's cutting softball, golfing, and wrestling from all middle schools, as well as elementary school golf and the elementary all-sport championships.
I think it should have gone to a vote, at least, and then also, if they say it's due to lack of funding, let's see the proof.
The district says the cuts are because of school budgets, availability of facilities and coaches, and declining participation numbers. This video shows a roaring crowd of spectators cheering on a Neptune Middle School girls wrestling team. Just recently, Basto's daughter placed first in her weight division and planned on joining the team next year.
She's just devastated, and she's thinking about scholarships, and she's already got her mind on the right path, and it's just, it's sad to see, like her dreams being crushed.
Along with Bastos, dozens of other concerned parents are upset over the district's swift decision. jumping to social media with dozens of comments. We asked the district for the data that led to the decision, but no response. We also asked other districts in the surrounding area about possible cuts of sports in the athletic department. They tell us there are no anticipated cuts. A lot of the other parents are going to speak in outrage against this decision at the next school board meeting, which is June 11th. Reporting in Osceola County, Darren Matthews, Channel 9, Eyewitness News.
Well, as we know, that meeting already occurred.
Yeah, so listen, first of all, there's only so much I can say about this because I think it's going to come up in the future, so I don't want to say anything. But what I will say is this. I have a town hall meeting at a Michigan Middle School in St. Cloud. Michigan Avenue Elementary in St. Cloud. So come to the school. It's on Saturday. It's on the 29th at noon. And come to that town hall. Voice your opinions and thoughts. I can't speak about it yet because it might come up for a vote. And so I can't really talk about it. I'd love to say a lot of things, but what I will say is come to the town hall, Michigan Avenue Elementary, at noon on the 29th, and talk about it. Get your voice on the record. Come to the school board meeting, because it's one thing to be on the news. There's so many things I want to say, and I just can't. So come to that town hall. Come to the town hall and talk about it. Get your voice on the record, and come to the school board meeting.
I'll just say this, John. I know that the school board has a very large budget. Sports keep kids out of trouble.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. I don't know what they're spending their money on besides, they gave the teachers a meager increase in their salary. Just a shame. Just a shame. All right. So, anyway, go to John's town hall. Let him know how you feel. Let him know what you're thinking. And, John will fight for you because that's what he does. Osceola County, St. Cloud set to vote on increased new construction fees, John, and we have a little video about that. Here it is.
Between 2016 and 2020, the county saw an increase of more than 50,000 people. That's according to data from the U.S. Census Bureau. And the increase means more cars are going to be on the roads that are already basically overflowing. Just last week, Trooper Steve on patrol showed us one of the busy trouble spots, Poinciana Boulevard and 192. County leaders now want to increase their road impact fees. News 6's Laverne McGee breaks down the price hike.
Thousands of people moving into Osceola County. More new homes and soaring construction costs. Not enough roads for all these cars.
Dealing with traffic is miserable. We can all see that more roads are needed, but someone has to pay for it.
Some people buying new homes might have to pay double or triple the amount because of an increase in road impact fees. Today was the first public workshop.
Even on the way to the meeting, we had to deal with all the traffic.
And I don't care what they say, they're wrong.
Heated debate over how to solve the rapid growth, housing, and traffic issues of Osceola County. Osceola County and St. Cloud's latest impact fee studies show that people who buy new homes will be affected. Road and mobility fees could add more than $15,000 to the cost of a new home. That's because impact fees are charged to developers who pass that on to new home buyers.
Right, you're making it worse. Okay? Instead of putting 3 homes to the acre, you're putting 8 and going, hey, this is a good idea.
Here's what Osceola County is proposing. For single-family homes, they want to raise the mobility fee from $9,999 per home to $25,012. That's a 150% increase.
But yet you're exacerbating the issue by putting more houses on more land in an urban style without any commercial, industrial, or employment center concurrent development.
If you didn't get a chance to attend today's meeting and you want to have your voice heard about all this traffic out here, well, there's another meeting next Monday as well.
Osceola County commissioners are scheduled to take a vote on July 1st.
Those statements,
and I have just
that statement, there's an echo now. Anyways, that you hear Ricky Booth there saying that blah 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 blah. You're putting 3 homes, you're exacerbating the situation. No, Ricky Booth's entire tenure on the county commission has been an exasperation. It has been exasperating to all the development. He's been the initial issue. He has been one of the supporters of all the development. Has he ever spoken up before he ran for re-election? He never spoke up against any of it.
No.
It's all been going on all this time. So I don't know what he's talking about now. I guess he saw a news camera and he decided he was going to say something. But the fact is, he's a big supporter of this development. A lot of the development is on his land, on his family land. A lot of the land that his family has owned that they're selling for development is happening with him, with his approval. So it's okay for his land, but not for somebody else's land? Is it only he that can get rich? We need to resolve that. Let go.
Yeah, but can't do it while we're live, but anyway. Ricky Booth fighting for this right now while he's up for re-election doesn't really mean much. We know many people that are in favor of this. I mean, to be honest, when I was running for city council, this was part of my platform. But you can't just raise the rates on the developers. You also have to change the zoning. You also have to look at the rules for the zoning. You can't just have it one way, because yes, these costs will be passed down to the home buyers. It will make houses more expensive here in Osceola County. I'm kind of torn on this, the way they're doing it, but I don't see them following through. I believe that they're proposing this because many of them are running for re-election. They're looking for an out because many of them are being blamed for everything that's going on right now.
Yeah, and they should be.
Yeah, and yeah, so this is their way out. They're saying, okay, we're going to propose this. But think about it. Would they propose and pass this if they didn't find a way for their developer friends to get around it? That's all I have to say. There must be a way. There must be a way that they're getting around it. But anyway. All right, so moving on. We had the inaugural Proud in the Cloud Festival in St. Cloud. And we have a video for that. Hold on.
Lakefront Park today, as you can see there, the Proud in the Cloud Festival included small businesses, food trucks, and nonprofits to help spread the word about all the resources that are available for the LGBTQ plus community. The St. Cloud Pride Alliance organized that event. Founder Christina Bausinich says it's a surreal moment to see the turnout. Roughly one of about 2,000 people showed up, which is exactly what she was expecting.
I'm a Pride ally. So it means a lot to me from my friends and family. We live in the United States where we can express our freedom this way. So I'm just overjoyed to see this happening in St. Cloud where I live.
Bausinich first hosted a Pride event in St. Cloud in 2022. However, it was canceled the following year due to safety concerns.
Disgusting.
With this year's event being such a success, she is hoping
Absolutely
that
disgusting.
it'll continue for years to come.
You know, I predicted that this would be a mild event because it was the first. You know, I expected that since it was the first in St. Cloud, a very conservative area of Osceola County, that it would be mild. There wouldn't be a lot going on like you normally see in some of these Pride events that happen in major cities like the city of Orlando or in other states like New York City or Chicago. But what is this going to look like next year? Or the year after that, or the year after that? I imagine it's not going to be so mild, John. And it wasn't that mild this time either, John. You had saw some pictures from that event, right?
Yeah, this is not, I don't know what mild is, but you know, a man being dressed in like a one-piece bathing suit or leotard or whatever with his butt cheeks hanging out in front of kids is not mild in my opinion. It's disgusting.
No.
And this whole event was disgusting. Do you have the pictures from the...
I don't have those pictures.
So it was absolutely disgusting. It's atrocious. It's absolutely, talk about what deplorable really is. That is deplorable. That whole event was deplorable. And then we have Cheryl Greaves, and that's why the headline was they're mocking God with pride, because Cheryl Greaves, that statue that she was talking about in Dedication to Pulse, is basically a fish-shaped statue in the rainbow colors, right?
Yeah, and we have that too. You know, they unveiled this new design for the Pulse Tribute, and here it is, John. There it is.
Yeah, so it's a rainbow fish.
It's the Jesus fish.
Yeah. And that's obviously a Christian symbol. So they co-opted the rainbow. They co-opt now the fish, and they're making this a dedication to a memorial of a massacre of 50 people. And then they're making it also one about gay pride, and that is deplorable. It's disgusting, and these are disgusting. The people who are doing this, Cheryl Grebe, I always talk about that. She's not like so personally offensive, unlike the other. She's not like half dumb like Ricky Booth. She's actually like seems like a professional, normal human being. Now we realize that she hates God as much as anything else, and that to me is a deplorable thing. She's just completely and totally being disrespectful to the Christian community, and she deserves to be kicked out of office like now. And they shouldn't even wait until 4 years. She needs to be kicked out right now.
It's very offensive when you see a gay man dressed in a sequined, shiny nun costume.
Yeah,
dancing
absolutely.
Around, mocking Christianity.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. So what if I went around and I was making fun of people? You're not allowed to be a racist, right? No. You're not allowed to make fun of races. You're not allowed to make fun of anybody. Everybody cries. The moment you mention anything about anybody, people start crying right away and becoming all cancel culture-like. But they're allowed to do this to Christians. Well, no, not to me. I don't care. I don't play part of that game. I would never vote for somebody like Carlos Guillermo Smith. The only thing he cares about is castrating children. I'm not all about that. I don't care about that. I don't care. The pride thing, I don't care. What you do in your own home, I don't care. But when you bring it out into the streets and now you're victimizing the minds of children, then I do care. Right? All of a sudden, now you create an enemy out of me, and I don't care what people think. You can try to cancel me. You can try to say whatever you want. I don't want that crap in my town. I don't want it in my county. I don't want it in my country. If you're going to brutalize kids, if you're going to victimize kids, then that's what I'm about. All of a sudden, then I step in, and that's what I protect. Because I'm all about the American family, not people who have a fake political agenda that they hide while they're wearing nun outfits and G-strings and having their junk hanging out for the whole public to see. I'm not about it, and I don't care what anybody thinks about it.
Yeah, what I meant, though, John, by mild, is we didn't have grown men in bondage gear walking around or,
they will. Like you said, they will.
Penis popsicles and
like
shirts.
In Orange County, they will.
Yeah.
They will. It'll get there.
Yeah, and that's my fear, is that's where it's going. So, but we'll have to see. We can thank our St. Cloud City Council for approving this, and that's the thing. Gay people, if you had these events and they were respectful, right, and they were free of all this sexual innuendo and didn't have people walking around in bondage gear, didn't have penis popsicles or sexual innuendos on t-shirts for sale, and all this was happening in front of kids. If this wasn't the case, if it was just more respectful, maybe, I don't know, like any other normal event, I don't think people would have an issue. Mm-hmm. But, when you make it this way, when it's over-sexualized, when you see things at these events you would only see in an adult nightclub or adult gentleman's club, then yeah, people are going to be pissed. I mean, how do you expect anything different?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, anyway, that's our show, John.
Wow, that's it. That way I thought are we going to go over some of these things, but I know the time is short.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We were going to go over the races. So we did have some surprises, John. Like we talked about, Laura McAdams stepped out of the school board District 5 race. She stepped into the state representative 35 race. She's going to be going up against Erica Booth.
And you need to support her.
Yes, absolutely.
You need to support her. Listen, you do not want these fake... We need to send a message. We need to send a message to leadership in Tallahassee that we want true conservatives that are going to stand up with a backbone and be conservative. Not just make some fake ads and spend money saying that they're conservative, but actually people of character who will be conservative. Laura McAdams is that person. Yeah. Please support her. This is basically you have good and bad. You have good and evil on this ballot here, right? And it's the entire intention of one race is to deceive you. The other one is to protect you. So make sure that you vote for that you support Laura McAdams. Check into her. Go to her website. She made this switch at the last minute. So there's all kinds of things in transition for her. But just make sure that we're supporting Laura. We come together as conservatives and support the conservative candidate.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so let's look at some of these candidates locally that qualified, John. Here we go. And then I know we're starting off in the middle here. We're going to go right back to the top, though. Let's look at, all right, so...
well, all the sheriffs did, except for the write-in candidate, right?
Clerk of Courts here, we got Josue Lorenzo, Jennifer Soto, and Kelvin Soto. All three qualified. Kelvin Soto, look at all that money, John. $94,000.
Yeah, that's a lot.
$94,000.
That's a lot.
And his opponents, Jennifer with 13 and Josue with 10, and that's what makes it hard, for a candidate, is when you have the incumbent who is getting all the money from special interests.
Well, here's what's important about that race. That race is basically the auditor for the county. They're supposed to be the watchdog of the county expenditures. And have you heard Kelvin Soto say anything about that function?
No.
As the auditor of the county?
Not a
No,
word.
you haven't heard him say a single thing to the public about that.
Not a word.
So, I mean, we need somebody who is actually going to make sure that they go and they dot the I's and cross the T's there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's go to the sheriff's race really quick.
right.
I want to kind of do this quickly as possible.
Wiley Black made it.
They all made it.
Tim Devine did not.
Yeah, but he was a write-in candidate. And then the one that we heard least of, Angel Rojas, he did not make it, $2,500
Well, he has been posting on Osceola Politics and other Facebook pages disparaging remarks against the incumbent Marcos Lopez.
Really?
Yeah. Quite a
Right.
bit. Quite a bit.
So there's a lot of money in that race, a lot of good people a lot of good fundraisers, right? So they made a lot of good money. What else to keep going? Let's.
All right. So as far as tax collector.
So tax collector, they both
Rafael
qualified.
Martinez,
That was
Bruce
surprising.
Vickers. Yeah.
Jenny Schunard qualified in that property appraiser. Here's the great one right here. Look at this. $1,000 of separation. Less than $1,000 separates Jim Trouts and Mary Jane Arrington. I'm sure she's gonna get all of her crooked friends to write her checks now. But this is a great outcome here. We got to support Jim Trouts. We need some. I don't care if there was another Democrat in that race. Anybody but Mary Jane Arrington.
Yeah.
She violated state statute twice, and that's something that is unforgivable for a supervisor of elections.
Absolutely.
Next one, I don't care about that race. And then District 3, I don't have any familiarity or eyesight on that. I'm not convinced there. Brendan Arrington, so Debbie Rambis, of course, qualified for that race. Everybody, all the people here qualified for that race.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one, District 5. Here we go, Diana Lipnitsky. I think there's a lot of conversations that need to happen with Diana and the community.
Diana stepped out of the District 35 race against Erica Booth and stepped into this one against Ricky Booth in County Commission 5.
Yeah.
Big
so
surprise.
Listen, this is an open seat. Diana's going to run to the left of Ricky Booth, and I don't know, we got to have some talks because certainly Republicans need to know who Ricky Booth really is. All right,
Yeah.
and then so we'll talk about that. And then I don't know. I see a guy who who did take an 18-year-old home, and then
allegedly tried to put the moves on her,
Yeah.
and allegedly got her intoxicated.
Yeah, so he was acquitted. He was acquitted in his trial, but at the same time, he took an 18-year-old home to his house. I don't know how can you get on stage and shake the hand of all these graduates and then you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't see that happening there. And then this is Beseda. She is essentially, I think that she's the establishment pick.
Yeah,
she's the people that Julius has tried to sell himself to, but they weren't buying, and so they ended up choosing.
Money behind her.
Yep. And so Diana Graniella is probably the only candidate that I would even come close to considering in that race.
Absolutely.
And then you have, here we go. Nobody qualified. I'm surprised that the people didn't qualify in this race. You have Julia Tavares, Angel Coba. Angel Coba, I think there's going to be some things that come out about Angel Coba in the upcoming weeks and months. Is not a clean candidate at all. And then you have Anthony Cook. Anthony Cook has a real problem already with conflicts of interest at the school district. Very bad conflicts of interest. Do not trust this guy. He is the establishment guy. He is Heather Cahoon's. If you like Heather Cahoon, then you might like this guy. But other than that, this is not the guy.
Yeah.
He's not the guy.
The other two, Jeff Hawk and Mark Inwood, did not qualify. Jeff Hawk, we suspected the whole time, was a ghost candidate.
He wasn't going to qualify.
No.
He was. Yeah, he wasn't ready to qualify.
Don't know why he filed for that, but.
And then in District 5, so this comes down to basically two people here. You have Brian Bennett and Paula Bronson. Those are the two. I think that from what I understand, I hear down the grapevine that Brian Bennett is going to put in a huge effort for this now that he's qualified. This is what he was waiting for. Yeah. Paula Bronson is basically the huge beneficiary at this time of Laura McAdams' departure from that race. Dylan Reinsel is kind of on the left side of things.
Yes,
good guy, but very on the left. And then you have Scott Ramsey, who is the establishment pick. He's basically Ricky Booth's cousin or something like that.
He has not campaigned whatsoever, John. I mean,
no.
He showed up at one parade, I think, but he has not done a thing.
Yeah. No, well, he did actually. He was buying ads at the rodeo.
Oh.
And that's his vote. So he did buy ads at the rodeo. I went to the rodeo. I love the rodeo.
He is a professional rodeo clown, right?
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
literally, he's a rodeo clown. And then the next judges group, we can skip all these, get down, let's go to Kissimmee. Wait, there we go. Seat 1. So Noel Ortiz, Brunilda Vanessa Alvarez, that was another surprise. She got out of that race, went somewhere else.
Yeah.
Noel Ortiz, Jaime Reyes, and Lysandra Roman all qualified in their races. You have Carlos Alvarez, Ruben Anderson, Wade Choate, and then my pick, Nicole Wagner Arguello. I think that sounds familiar. And then for the mayor seat, they all qualified. Obviously, Moses got out and Felix got out earlier in the year.
Yeah.
In St. Cloud, we have Phil Lantry, Jennifer Paul, and Mandy Schaefer all qualified. Colby Urban qualified. I'm
Colby
surprised.
Urban has essentially won. So
yeah, he did win. But
Yep.
Why wouldn't anybody else have gotten in against him? I know that he had $35,000, but this is a kid. He's literally a kid. He's like a young kid. Doesn't know what he's doing. He's going to go with whatever the thing. I think he's the least harmful or the most harmful, depending on what you look at and what your reasons are. Mayor,
I think the thing is this, John, is that people saw that money. They knew there was more money going to come
if they got in.
If they got in, and they just decided, we're not going to get in.
Yeah, absolutely. And then
Mayor Robbie Riggins did not qualify.
Yeah,
and it didn't look like he was going to either. I didn't see much from him. He wasn't really doing nothing. He participated in one parade, but he really didn't do anything. But Adam Wagner, Chris Robertson, and Tony Busby all qualified.
Yep. And I guess there's two Republicans, and I don't know what Chris is because he's floating back and forth these days. All right, like he was. Do you see him hanging out with I mean, listen, Okay, well, let's move on to the next, right? I don't care.
Right, do we want to go on to the CDD?
No, forget it. No. There are some good people in that CDD race. Maybe we'll go on to the next time when we got more time. Listen, we appreciate you watching with the show. I got to go wash feet. We love you. Thank you for supporting the show. Please like and share the show, and we'll see you later on this week.
Yeah.
We'll see you on Wednesday.
Yeah, where am I going? Oh.
No, I don't know. I guess we're in, right?
See you guys
End
next
of
week.
Show.